Well, hello everybody, it's Richard here, and it's been an absolutely splendid afternoon here in the UK, and I've been out and about, and I've been to something that I haven't been to before, but I've actually been meaning to over the years, and that's the War and Peace show at which is the largest in the world, military spectacular in the world, and that's been held at the hop farm at Beltringe near Paddock Wood, which is just outside Maidstone where I live, and so I've been over there this afternoon. We've had absolutely glorious weather, so much so that I had to find the sunscreen. Believe it or not, I had to find the sunscreen and also wear my sunglasses, which is the first time I think this year I've actually walked around with sunglasses on and felt that I was seeing normal vision, as it were, as opposed to all that rain that we've had here. And I know my friends around the world will have also had, you know, a very bad summer, but seems to have actually turned the corner here in the UK, and we seem to be having some spectacular stuff. Now, I know people look forward to my weather forecast, so there you go, that's my weather forecast, and apparently the weather's going to get even better this week, which is good news, because after this week I'm actually on 2 weeks holiday, and having a staycation, as they call it now, as opposed to going abroad or anything. So I've got lots of things to do, and one of the things is actually tidying up my record collection, and I've got some new IKEA units to put them in, so the office environment this particular broadcast is being made from will be actually tidied up. So, but I'll let you know more and probably show you something like that. But I thought I'd just preview the video that I took this afternoon at the showground, and this is the brochure. And this actually is a real souvenir piece, because it cost me £5. It's quite expensive to go in, but I suppose if you consider what you see, it was about £19.30. You know, you can get it slightly cheaper if you book before the I think it's before the 20th or the 22nd or the 18th or whatever it was. The 18th, 22nd today, isn't it? The 18th before the start, and I think it's down £17. And actually, if you're a veteran, if you're a Falklands veteran, I think it's £17 just over to go in. And this year, of course, we're celebrating 30 years of the Falklands conflict, and so this is a special edition one, really. I wanted just to highlight some of the things in the brochure. One of the things was that over here we've had a comedy programme running some years ago called Allo Allo, which is really a send-up of the resistance and things that were happening in France during the Second World War. And believe it or not, the cast of Allo Allo, or most of the cast, just happened to be at the event, at the War and Peace show. And so I had the great opportunity to meet some of my favourite characters there, and it was great fun. And I managed to speak to Kim Hartman, who plays Helga, the German lady in the programme, and who's the sidekick to Herr Flick, who was there today, and also Gruber, who's in that. So if you're a David Perry fan of Allo Allo, you'd have loved it, because I took some photographs, and I've done a short video of just sweeping past them, and they were very happy to do that, and they were actually putting on a bit of a show this afternoon, which I didn't get a chance to see, but it was great fun. So here they are in the brochure, and this is last year's picture, but they were all there, and and all the famous gags were there as well. So that was something I thought I just must tell you about before I do a piece. One of the biggest ambassadors for the Royal British Legion now is somebody called Simon Weston, and Simon was actually on the Sir Galahad. There he is, there's Simon in the picture there, when the Argentine planes came over and actually dropped a few nasty bombs, and he was badly burnt along with many other servicemen at that 30 years ago, and had horrific facial burns, and came back to this country. The BBC made a documentary about him and his recovery, Simon's, Weston's Way, I think it was called, and how he's rebuilt his life, and also how he's now an ambassador for good causes. And he talks about, in this article, about the post-traumatic stress that often servicemen are feeling, and the fact that he thinks that the show was a wonderful idea. So that was a really nice piece that he's written in there. So I wanted to highlight that. The actual show is actually run by Rex Cadman, who I understand through a colleague at work who knows him has a large amount of military vehicles himself on his piece of land, and lives down near Sandwich somewhere, and in Kent. So he, but he's been doing this. I think the show's been going since 1980. I think he said about 1982. It says here, and it's their 30th anniversary. So it's quite a long time going. I've never been to it before. So there was Simon Weston's bit, and there was the Hello Hello, and then there was a wonderful Veterans Marquee, and they had some marvellous 1940s swing music going on there, and a lady singer there, and in fact that was a meeting point for veterans if they wanted to meet their comrades, which I thought was a marvellous thing. Some of the ironmongery that was there is absolutely out of this world. I mean, the tanks and the amount of green and the amount of Willis Jeeps as well, along with the Austin Chumps Jeeps as well, which were there. And I've done a bit of a broadcast as they're passing onto the main arena, as it were. Not really, but I've actually done a piece on the Willis Jeeps, and Rex Cabman doing his piece there, telling us all about it. So you must watch those as part, probably 2, 3 and 4, maybe 5, I don't know. And I took a copious amount of photographs as well. So if ever next time round you're in the area, coming down to Kent, or it's certainly a must to go in and have a look round, and you certainly need to spend a good day there. I mean, I was there from about 12 to 3:30. I know it doesn't sound long time, but it was enough really. I think you could almost spend 3 days, which is the 3 days of the show, but it was nice to see their things going on. There were some veteran cars there as well. I spoke to a wonderful man about his steamroller called Moby Dick, and how that had been used during the war to crush metal, and how it had survived being dumped in a ditch, and now it was back in use, and how the county council had rebought it, and how he'd refurbished it, and so it was really nice to meet some of the people, and also what was going on. There was some static model aircraft there, full-size Spitfire, which is always quite nice to see. What else was there? There was loads of military vehicles, from even to the Vietnam War. There was a whole reenactment area that you could walk around for the Vietnam War, and people really getting into role. Some of them looked like they were going on exercise. I was having difficulty making distinction between who was actually a veteran and who was part of the reenactment. It was that difficult. Great day, especially when the weather's like today. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that little bit. So the War and Peace show, the Beltrin Hop Farm near Paddock Wood in Kent is a must for 2013, and I'd be loved to hear what you think if you're this way, or even just find the website, because there is a website for it, and and those that can't get it, but so this is definitely a must. Just very quickly, I mentioned in my last broadcast about Dickie Valentine, and that I'd actually bid for one of his 10-inch LPs on eBay. Well, I won that, so it was only £3, and here it is. In perfect condition, I have to say. It's inside a plastic now, I know, but the cover's perfect. The LP itself is perfect. It's a live recording, and he even does some impersonations of other people as well, which is how he started out in life, and until he went to school, had some singing lessons, as it were. As I mentioned before, he did die very tragically in a car accident. On this LP, he's with the Skyrockets, and it's conducted by Eric Rogers. So, he's got some lovely songs in here, like For You, Mr. Sandman, A Blossom Full, Cleo and Neo, The Finger of Suspicion, which was one of his favourites and also a hit for him, I'm Singing a Song for the Old Folks, and Pretty Baby, and many others there. So it's a really good LP. Nice line notes on the back. There we go. Also, I found a couple of finds yesterday. I can't resist my charity shop, just almost up the road. Liberant's New Sounds. This is quite nice. Liberace, again, perfect condition, this LP. I know he's a bit kitsch, but I mean, it really is very nice, and nice playing there. I've got one of his 10 inches where he actually sings, and I think he talks about Steamroller or something, one of his songs. And then the Bumper Bundle by Mr. Joe Mr. Piano Henderson. Another great. This is a 1959 LP. I've seen it on eBay, £30. I don't think I paid £30 for this. It's a bit honky tonk, some of this, but on the back there, some nice line notes. very nice. It looked a bit scuffed, and I was a bit worried, so I cleaned it up. Usual method of cleaning up: good old soap and water, a soft sponge, rinse off, dab dry, leave, no watermarks, and did the cover, and it plays perfectly. No jumps or skips. Really lovely album, so I'm very pleased about that. So, but anyway, anyway, that's it for now, and I wish you all the very best, and look forward to your comments. And don't forget to watch the video clips I'd taken today at the War and Peace show at 2012. See you later. Bye.
Hi, so we're reporting from the War and Peace show at the Hot Farm near Belfry, near Maidstone. We had a fantastic time today. As you can see, going past at the moment, we've got lots of jeeps and also British hostage and jumpers. So it's been a fantastic day. We're really enjoying ourselves. The weather come out, the sun's very nice, and so we're going to put some more later on. But thanks for watching.
Is a Jeep, it's not. They all started off in the same sort of beginnings, but various modifications, manufacturers and so on and so forth. So what we'll do, we'll let them trundle around a bit, put them through their paces, and then we'll line them up in front, and I'll check to one or two of the owners. And I must apologise about my voice. It might all pack up this afternoon, so if you suddenly see my lips moving and nothing else coming out, then it's time for me to go home. But anyway, the Jeep started off, there was nothing really in terms of a small four-wheel car in the sort of Western Allies, the Americans, British, whatever. The British tended to use pre-war cars to bounce around the front, or motorcycles. And the Americans pretty well the same. And pre-war cars weren't designed to bounce off-road, they only had two-wheel drive. Motorcycles are great, fast, but again they can't go everywhere. And so it needed a vehicle that could go off-road. The American company Bantam designed a vehicle. Willis also designed one, and between them all, they came up with one or two prototypes that looked similar, but obviously there were quite a lot of detailed differences. In the end, mass production won. Willis got the contract with their Go Devil engine powering the vehicle. Willis couldn't keep up with the production, and so Ford were brought in. And so you've got Ford producing some 250,000, Willis similar, so many Jeeps produced between 1941 and 1945. Where does the word Jeep come from? Nobody quite knows. There's one or two rumours. One says it's short, it stands for GP, General Purpose. Others say it was named after Popeye and Olive Oil's son, who was called Jeep. You could invent so many different answers, but I like to go with the GP one. All these vehicles look similar. The main ones here are just Willis MB and Ford GPWs, which means General Purpose Tourists. They're completely interchangeable in terms of parts. Most Jeeps these days, if you buy one second hand, it's got a mixture of Willis and Ford parts in it. Doesn't matter, except for the purist, as Ford always stamped all their pieces, even their nuts and bolts, with an F stamp. And so one or two purists actually go as far as to turn everything back into F stamp parts. Also, apart from having the standard vehicles, there were modifications to those standard vehicles. You can see at least one here going over the mound now, modified by the British to airborne specifications. We'll talk about it a bit later. I say just let them go around their paces, but you can see incredibly versatile.